Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next perfect step, where all possibilities lie in conversations. I'm your co-host, Lori Mullen.
And I'm your co-host, Lori Tremblay. Welcome, everyone, to today's episode. We welcome our guest, Colleen White Agustsson. She's a retreat host, psychic medium, life coach, and teacher of meditation and psychic development. She worked in Salem, Massachusetts for about a decade, and now she lives in Bedford, New Hampshire with her husband and two boys, ages 4 and 9. So welcome, Colleen.
Hi, Lori. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It was so great meeting you guys this year, and I've been loving your podcast. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, we enjoyed meeting you too. We met kind of through our mutual friend Mia in Salem. And then on Facebook, we found that you had a retreat like 5 minutes from my house. So Lori came up for the weekend and we attended that nice weekend retreat, which was great that you led. So thanks so much. You do quite a few.
Wonderful retreat. Yeah,
Yes.
we had a great time. It was a great atmosphere. Had a lot of things come through, just helped recenter, refocus. It was really a beautiful led retreat.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I had so much fun leading that. It was so special to have you guys there. It was just such an amazing group of ladies. I feel like they really connected so much. It was much better weather than I thought that weekend on Lake Winnipesaukee at Mara Lake. Mara Lake was such a secret space too. It's something that not everybody knows about. So it was really, really beautiful. And we just had some great people there, I think.
Did. And you had some nice practitioners that came, like doing the breath work and Lena, and that was nice. And you cooked the food because your caterer got COVID. So you had this amazing food. It was I was so impressed with you. Like having the
But yeah, I
scramble
had to
and
become my own caterer.
I know on top of everything else. So so primarily you do readings and retreats, is that correct?
Yes, yes. I actually, when I was young, I started out in corporate retail management, but my path through tourism led me to Salem, and I did what I've always loved. Just kind of went off on my own, being my own business, doing my own branding as a psychic medium. It was a gift I've always had, and I took astrology classes in my teens, started to learn tarot and different ways of reading things, but it really was Salem that opened that gift for me. I lived in Salem during my Saturn return when I was 29 going on 30. It was a really big Phoenix time. It was my last big step from moving from corporate into being a full-time psychic medium. It was amazing. I was really blessed to have some amazing teachers from Salem too. My friend Leanne has two shops in that area with my friend Tim, and she was really a great force. But Mia was a great connection too. Just some amazing ladies that really it just turned my life so magical. And I realized you can kind of lead a magical life, and live with your gifts and help people. And I built a wonderful clientele. I still have clients from Salem that I talk to every few months, sometimes every few weeks, sometimes once a year. A lot of people host parties that I've met through Salem, so I do psychic parties all the time, all over New England. And yeah, it's always comes back to that being my main job, because it seems to be something that I do really well. I connect with people. I love helping them. I love helping them see what's coming next, what their next step might be, and help encourage them on the path. We see the future, but then we've got to chase the good part of it and, avoid the bad parts. And it's really just been a gift and a blessing to do this job. I did get inspired. I feel like having two kids going through COVID, I slowed down quite a bit. And coming out of it, I felt like I needed healing, that women needed healing, that women needed getaways, so that's why I started the retreat business.
That's great. And just before we move to that, can you explain, or I have two questions. Number one, as a psychic medium, sometimes that's in your family lineage. Is that in your family lineage? And number two, for the listeners that aren't familiar, can you explain what a Saturn return is?
Oh, yeah. So my mom's very, very intuitive. I feel my dad is very, very intuitive. He's a Vietnam vet. He's literally like kind of saved himself from a bomb that, killed his whole platoon just by knowing when to leave a certain space. So it definitely intuition runs in our family. My grandparents who raised me joked that they built the house that I grew up in Hyde Park in Boston, Massachusetts, because their old three family in East Boston had too many ghosts. So it's definitely a family thing in a sense. I'd always done it, but I think corporate really it teaches you to turn off that part of your brain that's intuitive because you just, especially corporate management, it is definitely like not always on. Salem is a great space for opening it. Just in general, when you get into any spiritual realm or place, it kind of opens up that for you. But you're Saturn return, when you turn 29, there's a huge thing with, Saturn coming around, every 29, 30 years. So you go through like a year or two period where you really kind of come into yourself. To put it in like, normal terms, it's a hugely magical space where you kind of come into yourself and you're called to what you're supposed to do.
Great.
So you also do red tent. That's something you've been very passionate about. Can you explain what red tent is and the benefits of being part of red tent?
Oh yeah. So when I was single in Salem, I feel like I took all the women, feminine, divine connections for granted. I know Mia helped to organize a red tent there, and I got involved in going to that. I thought it was like phenomenal. When I moved to New Hampshire, I had an office in Nashua for a while, a holistic center, and I used to facilitate there for Southern New Hampshire when I could, and I used to attend some. I know there's a wonderful center, the Wild Women Wellness Center, that's a bit further up from me, and they're just lovely, and they do a great red tent. I got to meet the facilitators of the Red Tent near Derry. They came to my first one, my launch that I did. So it's just such a great movement. People have so much interest in it that my next three ones are kind of almost filling up because I have to start moving inside when it gets colder. So I'm like limited for space. But it seems like such a need here, especially like up in New Hampshire, that like women don't have free opportunities to get together. There's a lot of paid opportunities to go to things, but women need women. Like women need connection. Um, Lots of women are, becoming moms. They don't know what they're doing with that. They've been moms for a long time. It's isolated them. They're going through empty nest syndrome. Their kids are moving out. They're going through changes, menopause. Maybe they're just finding themselves coming out of college, in college, and they just don't have those like really nice connections where women support each other and can help each other through each stage or transition. So we do a monthly circle. I launched my first one with full moon, but it's normally new moon. So we would do a new moon one. Our next one's on November 1st. You just host. It's just kind of snacks and tea, relax and circle. We talk about, positive affirmations, what we feel we need to release or talk about, and just different things.
I think I agree with you. I think women, there's just such a great energy with when women are together and sharing it within circle. It's a safe space where you can really be vulnerable sometimes and support each other. So I feel like that's a magical space, just having that, holding that space together with other women. And I love it. So good for you for doing that.
What do you think right now the biggest challenge for women is? Like, what are women showing up for at your circle?
Oh, definitely connections. And I feel like, especially in New Hampshire, spirituality, New Age spirituality, talking about intuition. A lot of people with intuition that, like, even work normal jobs are just starved for finding people to talk to about that. So it's just so great when you bring open-minded women together who really want to open up to that intuition, to like messages from spirit, just to connecting with other people and, kind of healing each other. Healing each other is so important. These are usually women that have a gift to heal other people and themselves, and they like haven't always tapped into it, But then it also attracts women who have tapped into it and they're working it and they're healing people and they're doing this work constantly, but they're not taking enough self-care time.
Yeah, I agree. Being in New Hampshire my entire life, and then once going down this path about 10 years ago, I find New Hampshire to be really um, different than I've seen in other spaces. New Hampshire actually has a ton of people, both men and women, who are going down the spiritual path, intuition, medium, card readers, healers of all different kinds. And yet we're all separated. There's really not a community and a connection. And if there is any, I find it to be very competitive, where we really aren't coming together. I haven't seen a lot of healthy circles so much for people to really just feel in a held, contained, safe space. And I think there just needs to be more of that. Way, way more of that in New Hampshire, because there is so many people out there in our area that have a lot to bring to other people, and that we can unite and help one another. So I hope that starts working, and you're one of the prominent leaders in that, with the red tent and the retreats. And yeah, I think that it's wonderful. I definitely think that we need to bring more of it together. Yeah.
Yeah, I think red tent is like the solution to a lot of that for sure. It's just such a worldwide movement. When you like look at the handbook and you like look at the research, there are very few countries right now that don't have red tents. Like that's amazing. Like it goes worldwide. So it's just such a great movement. I love it. I completely and totally love it. I have a she shed bar outside that my husband built me during COVID and it has heat and it's got like furniture, and I decorated all the walls with red sheets. So I really created a little red tent sanctuary area. And then I've got a patio with the heat lamps, and we did a fire pit. And it was just really nice. It's just so lovely. I use the space in the spring. I do garden parties. It's like a day retreat. So people come and they have that vision boards, adult coloring books, meditation, psychic readings, like zodiac cocktails, snacks from the caterer, Reiki. So that's like one of the like little mini retreats I do at home. So that's kind of fun too.
I
You're
like the
on.
way you're so.
Go ahead,
Go
Laura.
ahead. I was just going to say, I like the way you have such creative ideas, because when we spoke to you at the retreat, you had all of these, amazing ideas that you did for events and things. So I just wanted to say that. Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, and one of the things you have coming up or you're participating in now are meditations.
Yeah, I always have led meditations in my psychic development, and I used to do seances in October. This would be the time of year I would be doing like 40 people seances, sometimes back to back. The peace of living in the woods and doing events just Friday and Saturday night locally has been kind of nice. But every Monday morning, I go to the Yoga Fitness Loft in Amherst, New Hampshire, right on 101. It's in this cute little villages. They're all like decorated like these Nordic villages, like that's the architecture of them. And in the yoga studio, I get to teach meditation every Monday morning at 9 for an hour. And it's great. It's for beginners, but it's for like all levels. And we do a guided meditation. We do breath work. Every week focuses on something different. So it can be like establishing boundaries. This week it was on abundance. Next week's going to be on crystals and crystal meditation, and finding the right crystals for you. So it's just so fun.
When we were at your retreat, you did a little workshop about manifesting, and we had a nice little journal. And so that's great, because people need those kinds of skills as well. And a lot of people are interested in, meditation, crystals, manifesting, being at peace, just connecting. So what you're doing is really helping so much. Do you do readings like for the collective at all, like for different time periods, or do you just do mostly individual readings?
I do mostly individual readings now. So I'm on my website. You can book a time with me for 15 or 30-minute readings for tarot, mediumship, but then I also have like astrology readings, life coaching consultations, um, just kind of whatever every palm, everything I do in a sense, you can kind of do in person with me or over Zoom.
That's great. And what is your website?
ColleenWhiteHolistic.com. Colleen whiteholistic.com.
And you have a couple retreats coming up too. Do you want to talk about what kind of retreats you have coming up?
I'm so excited about April. I'm doing a money mastermind, and there's such a history to like this money mastermind. It's also part of that whole like next perfect step. I've gone through, I feel like every 10 years I go through a brand new life. In the course of my like being on my own at 18, being in corporate, like renting in South Boston, moving to Salem, establishing new businesses, moving to New Hampshire, getting married, having two kids, shelving my business for a while. Obviously, like money goes through a lot of ups and downs. You go through your debt periods in college, you go through student loans, you go through all kinds of different ups and downs. So I'm doing a money mastermind. It's been so great because my husband too, I have two stepgirls too. They're 14 and 16 and he's divorced. When I met him, he was divorced. He had lots of like some financial issues too. So we really kind of had to work on our finances quite a bit to buy our house in Bedford. And then during COVID, we kind of stopped and halted and we were like, what are we doing wrong with our money? So we hired a financial advisor and it was like therapy. Every week we would get on the Zoom with our financial advisor and it was literally therapy. It was so hard, but we mapped out our budget. We wrote budgets. We audited where does all our money go? What are we paying for that we weren't aware we were paying for? Like just so many different details. And we were able to like just change our whole life. It's amazing like how much you can save, how much you can change when you like get rid of debt and just do things differently. When you start learning about your investments, watching your investments. Now I like play around with day trading on my phone. you know? So I'm constantly like learning more about it. But I like putting together like really great financial experts. Like I've met some women who are able to like very clearly like teach you bookkeeping. And I've met women who can teach you like how to actually make money through investments, like even small investments. And then I know women who like are constantly like flipping houses and like when you get into like the higher levels of stuff or figuring out, how can we retire early? Like what's your retirement going to look like? How can you grow some money? So I wanted to take a lot of my clients like are kind of all over the place with money. Some of them are still working on their student debt and some of them are, kind of like I just put everything on the credit cards and I don't think about it. And some of them are like, well, my kids have left the house now and I don't know what I want to do next. I don't know what my next step is. I might have some investments. I haven't really looked at them. Maybe I'm being taken advantage of. Maybe I have the wrong advisor. So it's like kind of, let's look at everything. Let's peek at everything. So it's a 3-part workshop. So it's for not only like business owners, retreat professionals, small business owners, it's just for women in general who might not have looked at their finances or might not be planning for the future as well as they want to or not looking at their future. So they'll learn like making budgeting fun, like doing like an audit on yourself. And then like investing for women, like there's just so many myths sometimes women let their husband handle the money all the time. Sometimes women just don't like to look at the money. I think that's a man thing too. But I think it's everybody, but it's so fun. And then the third part will be like manifesting huge growth. Like, so you'll hear from women who have made millions and more, off of like taking that leap and investing, starting bigger businesses, expanding their businesses. So it's actually it's a villa. It's a retreat villa. It's not like a huge villa, but it's a big house. Has 3 living rooms. It's got outdoor yoga and massage. It's right on a lake in East Harwich, and it's near the ocean. And it's everybody's going to get meals included. It's a weekend, the weekend of April 11th, 12th, 13th, I believe, right? Yep, 11th, 12th, and 13th. and it'll include yoga, massage, meditation, manifestation, meals, snacks, fun. Like, but then you'll also get the three-part financial series. You'll get like a financial planner, like a swag bag. It's really fun. So I've got like rooms available. You can get your own room, you can share a room, you can have a common space because it's going to be a really fun, kind of sleepover too. It's my 45th birthday. So
That's great. It sounds exciting. And I love that we can add intuition into that, right? Where your money goes, becoming aware of things we're not looking at. This whole thing is every part of our lives, even down to money. I did a series of book group. It was from Nancy Levin's book called Worthy. And it was boost your self-worth to grow your network. And it really was about seeing how your self-esteem and your belief in yourself trickled down to your money, and how your beliefs about yourself was your beliefs about money. It was fascinating to know and to get to see that part of myself where I was limiting myself with some of my beliefs, some of the things my mother used to say, we're a family with a beer budget, but a champagne taste, and that's not true. That's not true, but it was something I repeated all the time. So, I think that it's such a great retreat and something that, women really should be a part of and should be starting to watch and look at and examine for ourselves. Like you said, a lot of times we just leave it up to the men. So there's something out there that we can learn and grow from. And I think that that's incredible.
The money's energetic too, like you were saying, Lori. It's an energetic thing as far as your worthiness and your how you feel about yourself, and it's not good or bad. If people have put a label on their money, I think, right, Colleen, you just like it's either wealthy people are whatever, or it doesn't have to be either way. It's an energetic. It can be a very good positive thing in your life.
yeah, definitely. And it's definitely something that we're going to get into because I have heard the worthiness so often used in why people aren't looking at it or manifesting more growth for themselves financially. And sometimes it's tied a lot to their family and childhood and the ways in which they were shown or not shown money and budgeting and finances. I mean, some people were raised with nothing, and some people were raised where they never had to worry about anything and they didn't know where it came from. I was raised by my grandparents in Boston, and they were depression, like they lived through the Great Depression. So like my grandmother hoarded food, it had supply cabinets and hundreds of soaps locked cabinets. She was always ready, but she taught me how to balance a checkbook. And I'm pretty sure, like when I started getting store cards and credit cards, in like college, I wasn't thinking about managing my checkbook. I threw it out the window, but at least I got the basics, the foundation in it. And she was always hoarding money and saving money and like for a rainy day. So I think because they were so good at money, I didn't worry as much as I should have, but I lost them really early and then I was on my own really early. And because of their health, that eats up money a lot at the end, and different circumstances happen and people take advantage. Some of their kids took advantage in a sense too. So, I had to hit the ground running, and I had my own apartment at 18. I was still in college, trying to work full time, and it was a hustle. And for me, I feel like it's always been a hustle. And I've attracted hustlers into my life, friends and in relationships and stuff. And we've kind of supported each other and, continued to grow businesses, and just kept meeting more people that had that mentality of like grow and keep going. It's only at this point in my life where I'm able to like kind of slow down and say I was so busy trying to generate income and generate growth that I wasn't always planning for the future, and I wasn't always looking at what I was overspending on, what I didn't need.
Yeah, which says something too about our society, right? We really don't teach our children that. If we're not good at it, we really can't teach our children to be good at it because we weren't taught. So, I mean, I think I learned the very basics in school about how to balance a checkbook. But that was it. That was the limit to it. We're not taught how to look at our beliefs around money. We're not taught, and we trickle down not by our parents' fault or anything, but how about they feel towards money, their energy towards money. And we take that on. And so it's great to have something else out there to change that and to learn a new way, or to learn a way at all. Yeah. So that's great. So we look forward to that upcoming retreat for sure. Do you have anything else going on at this? I mean, this is such a busy time for you, but what else are you excited about right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been excited about all the events I've been doing in October, but then I also wanted to talk about my retreat after that because I already have my next retreat booked. So next fall, I'm doing a witchy retreat to kind of go back to like the Salem roots because I talked to so many women on retreat websites, so many women who are looking for a retreat that want that little like fun like practical magic vibe of let's all get together, make midnight margaritas, let's do some crafty stuff and make brooms, let's, have fun and learn about herbs. So I'm renting a beach house on the North Shore. It's right near Gloucester. So it's going to be September, full moon September 2025. It's going to include a day trip with transportation to Beverly and Salem. So we're going to get a book and a book signing with my friend Leanne, and we're going to have our little time in Salem before the craziness there. So it's going to have a shopping trip included and stuff and some fun. But like, we'll be able to like go out on the beach, do some full moon stuff, just kind of have a really fun ladies' weekend. And I'm really excited about that because it just kind of really flows with what I think a lot of women want to do is just kind of let loose and like enjoy the moon and enjoy each other, do some crafts, learn some stuff.
That sounds fun.
I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be really, really fun. I have a lot of people excited to like do different things. Like, so I think that'll be cool too. I'm also
It's
excited to
fun.
get back to, Massachusetts. I have two coming up in Massachusetts because we did New Hampshire, this year. And it's just going to be so fun to like get back to Mass and see the two different sides, like the Cape in the spring and then the North Shore in the fall, which is just beautiful. Like the two oceans are so different and have such different energy. And I think it's just going to be absolutely amazing. I've been booking a lot more like psychic parties and events here. So like that's been my focus right now. I've been doing nonprofits, but I also have been doing some businesses, pop-ups, which have been so great. I taught an oracle card workshop last week at the yoga studio that I teach meditation at, and it was amazing. I forgot how fun oracle cards were. Like I just keep collecting them, and they're like kind of like my guilty pleasure, like my joy. It's so funny how you can buy an oracle card deck and it's not like intimidating, like learning a new tarot deck or trying to learn astrology for someone. They can just go pick up an oracle card deck and like pick a card every day and be like, oh, this is pretty. I love this message. I love this word and just feel better. And I always tell people, like, if you want a little pick me up, go get an oracle card deck that has pictures that you like, that you feel called to, like art you like, and never throw away the book. Because it's not like with tarot where you're supposed to learn it and you're supposed to use your intuition and, like, it's like academic. Like with the oracle cards, the books have guided meditations, they have like healing rituals, they have like a whole story about like what this card is, like why it's coming into your life at this moment. So it's just so great. I've been really diving into those because I feel like I never had time to doing way more self-care these days. And I feel like everybody needs to. But I feel like this has been a good opportunity for me to teach that class because I usually teach tarot and it's a 4-week series and it's a lot of information. So it's like more of a serious class. And it was just so fun to do a workshop that was way more like sit around in a circle, look at the different cards, like what do you think that card means? You're going to learn how to read oracle cards, like putting that in people's hands. It's so fun.
Lori and I love to do that too, to do readings for each other or for other people. And just, it also helps you hone into your intuition when you can look at the picture, like look at the light coming in or look at this, what's happening, and then kind of feel like what the intuition of the card says to you, and then read the message with it. And it's always for me, it's always spot on. It's like right what I need at that moment. And I always think of it as a gift because it's so helpful. And it's fun too.
So great. Yeah, I try to share Oracle card reads on my Instagram, like Colleen W. Augustsson, as often as I can. Usually when it's not October, it's like every other day because it's just so nice for me to take a moment, clear my desk, sit down, put out some crystals, put out a candle, do my card for the day. And then I'll take pictures of everything, but I won't actually like read like the book or the meaning of the card or focus on it until I have it in an Instagram video with the music that goes with it, like the peaceful music. And then I'll sit there and watch the whole video, and that's when I'll actually like tap into the card. So I'm actually doing my meditation on the card and my intuition on the card and reading my message and doing my meditation with my video when I finish it. So that's kind of fun.
That's great. That's great. What are you doing for self-care?
Oh, well, I think that's actually a big part of it. I love baths. I love making like special baths with bath salts and herbs and oils. And I just feel like it's so important to like take time for you. So this time of year, I probably take 3 or 4 baths. I'm big on reading, so I love reading and I love podcasts, obviously. But yeah, the Oracle card starter in the morning is such a nice thing. I just love to like get my coffee, light a candle, and really just kind of tune into that as well. Do some journaling. The manifestation journals are just so good, especially when you feel like you need an activator. I think that's been great. I love sitting out in the fall. Like it's wonderful to just sit out in my yard and kind of enjoy fall. I love watching the leaves. I
Mhm.
love driving around New Hampshire. It makes every chore peaceful when you see the beautiful trees out here. It's just so great.
Really been beautiful this year, especially. It's amazing.
My son had so I had an event Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And in the middle of that, my son was camping at Camp Carpenter with the Boy Cub Scouts. And in Manchester, but you wouldn't think in the middle of Manchester they have this big camp that's on a lake. And you go down through the trails in the lake, and all the kids are playing, and there are these rocks, and you just look out at the beautiful trees around the lake. And I'm taking pictures because I went during the day on Saturday to spend time with the kids and my husband. And it was just gorgeous. It was a beautiful day. It was warm out for fall. And you're looking at these beautiful fall leaves and the reflection on the lake, which is one of my favorite things when you see like that reflection on water of these fall leaves. It's just such an amazing meditative like moment. And like having people realize they can just take those quiet, peaceful, meditative moments in everyday life.
It is a beautiful place over there. I was a Cub Scout leader for one of my sons, and my husband was the pack master. And we have spent a lot of time, like 9 years over there. And it really is, if you get a chance, go over there. It is absolutely beautiful. Like you said, you just wouldn't believe in Manchester, there's this beautiful little space. And I think it's wonderful that the kids get to spend time there.
Yeah, it's just such a nice oasis. It was really nice. And even with it getting cold at night, like my kids came home on Sunday because I went and worked a tarot tango event at like the Palace Dance School. So I left them at camp, went home, threw on an evening gown, packed up my cards and drove back to Manchester to the other side. And then my kids and my husband came home in the morning. I was thinking they're going to be so miserable because it's so cold when they came home on Sunday. They were like,
That's wonderful.
and then Sunday night, I had an event in Boston. I have a client I've had for like a decade who throws 2 or 3 parties a year, but always one in October. So she lives in the South End, has just a beautiful space and just amazing friends, and just grows more and more friends every year. And she's just fabulous. So it's just so fun to go see that crew and like do a Sunday night party. But it is busy season. It is like the back to back.
What I love is that you make it fun, right? There's just fun activities. A lot of us do the spiritual work and it's very serious, and there's definitely, a part of that, but that it can also be a whole lot of fun too. I mean, laughter is such great medicine and joy. And so to do it in a joyful way, I just love that.
I think it really is supposed to be fun. I feel like a baby, like I definitely feel like an expert when it comes to doing psychic readings, doing so much of this. For some reason, the retreats come naturally to me. I think because I ran events and different places in Boston and Salem, and I ran networking groups monthly, Boston Wine Women and Salem Wine Women. So I did so much organizing and events and event planning and promotion that was easy to me. But the red tent, I felt like a baby. I was so glad that like some other people who organized them came because even though I had come to them, I was so intimidated. And I'm big on like creating space and like making sure people have food and tea and like cozy mugs and everything, and the seating is right, and the fire's right, and there are pillows out. And then we get there, and I'm like, so what should I do to make this better in the future? What should like in it? Because it's funny because it's almost like I didn't trust myself enough to flow with what I would do in a workshop or a retreat or a paid class, like have an itinerary and stuff. I was just kind of letting it flow. And like now I have some great ideas from all the ladies who facilitated who are friends of mine all over New England who are like, oh, do this and do that. And now I'm excited and I'm going to bring out my affirmation and reflection cards and like different like topics. And, I feel like I can ease into it, but it is funny because when you haven't done a sisterhood circle in a long time, you've only been doing workshops, classes, I guess with my retreats, it's different because I rehearse, and you're looking at it and, you're planning itineraries and stuff. So, but yeah, this was like, I was like, I need this, I need this circle to happen. It's so important to me. It's so important to offer this for free. And then I feel like I'm still baby stepping into it because I can make it better. It can be better, but it also everybody has to just relax and it just has to be light. I don't want to put any work on anyone.
And I think that's so important when you said, like, all of it, whatever we do, whatever we're teaching, whatever groups we put together, it's for us too. And yet we're there to hold the space and to share what we know and to share our experience and hope it helps someone. But it is truly there for us too. We're learning something. We're getting something from it too. It's expanding and lifting us up. And no matter how long we've been here, no matter what experts we are at something, there's still so much for us to learn. We're new at something. And you're right, that's exciting, right? It's exciting. You get to do something new and you get to create it to fit your niche and stuff. And that's exciting and wonderful. And we should be open to doing those things. We don't have to come in as an expert in everything. We get to start in the learning process and grow with the group.
That's true. That's so true. Colleen, do you have anything else that you'd like to add to our listeners?
Oh boy, I always have so many balls in the air, so I'm always trying to check off to make sure I've done everything. But yeah, that's actually, that's the problem. Sometimes when I get consultations and stuff, when I talk to business like coaches and everything, they're like, you do too much. And I'm like, but I can't take certain things off my plate. Like I'm gonna do a few events a year, but like I'm a psychic, so most of my clients are going to come to me for the readings. Like, so, and if I add on, another service or something, it's me doing something that I need to do that I feel called and compelled to do. So, teaching meditation every week's been just great for me. It's just soul wise. So, I love that. The retreats are soul wise great for me. So, I'm going to continue to lean into them because the universe tells me to. But you always go back and you have to get passionate about like what your actual calling is. And that's my readings. I definitely help people the most with my readings. I feel like because I help so many people and I can connect to so many people. So I actually I have a promo code on my website for anybody who listens to podcasts too. So I put a promo item on my booking page. So if you put in the promo code chat in the messages, if you book a 15-minute appointment with me, it's free. So it's not a psychic reading, it's just a consultation to talk about what services I offer and to have a chat.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. We'll put that in the notes.
Yeah.
Okay. listeners. Good.
And we'll
I
connect
thought
her
that would be fun.
website down below so that you can easily find her and find all that she is involved in and offering. And if you want to book a reading with her, you can find her there too. So we'll connect that down below.
Thanks, Colleen. Enjoyed having you so much.
Thank you so much. It was so great to chat with you guys. I hope to see you soon.
Definitely. And if you like this conversation as much as we have, please like, share, and subscribe to our page. Until next time, how is your intuition leading you to the next perfect step?